Welcome to Alignment Adventures, a podcast where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling, aligning, and present life. I'm your host, Lindsay Tanner, and I'm so dang glad you're here. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another episode of Alignment Adventures. I'm so grateful and happy that you are here with me today. You are really in for a treat with this aligning and just feel good conversation with Danielle Desmet. How this came about was very synchronistic as well. As you guys know, my good friend Lauren Rowley was on the show. That was over a year ago now. Go check out her episode if you haven't already. She worked with Danielle and she was like, Lindsay, you need to have Danielle on the podcast. She's totally your vibe. You're into the same stuff. And I had her over here. We hadn't even met before. Actually, I think we had met one time, like very briefly, but this was the first conversation we really had, and you guys get to hear it, and it was just so fun. You can feel her positive, vibrant, beautiful energy through this episode. We talk about so many different things, from showing up as yourself, working through things that are holding you back, connecting to the body, the importance of a morning routine, which you guys know I'm trying to get back in my morning routine with a baby. That's tricky sometimes, but even just the little things you do in the morning are so powerful. Balancing working through the challenging stuff while also staying in alignment. She's also a Reiki practitioner, breathwork facilitator, and holistic health coach. And we actually have a special offer for you for any of her services at the end. So make sure you tune in to the end of this episode. But this conversation is just so fun. I hope it's aligning for you to listen to. I just love having these conversations. And I hope if you don't have anyone to talk about this stuff to, well, first of all, please message me on Instagram. We can talk about this all you want. But I hope it's just fun to listen to these conversations and can act as alignment time for you if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk about this stuff to, if that makes sense. So without further ado, let's get into this conversation. I know you guys are going to love it as much as I did. Danielle, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and your schedule for coming on the podcast, for coming on Alignment Adventures, and sharing your message and your wisdom and your beautiful energy with my audience.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, this is going to be a good one, I can tell.
Yes.
And it's so fun to do these in person. So again, I just thank you for coming to my house.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start with the usual two everyone knows, but just so people can get a taste and a flavor for who you are, who is Danielle? It's a hard one.
It is a hard one. And I feel like, too, what's so cool about this question is if you had asked me 10 years ago, 2 years ago, even 2 weeks ago, it would be a completely different answer. So I don't even know. Who am I today?
Always changing, right?
Always changing. Yeah. So I am currently a second grade teacher, but I am also a holistic health coach and Reiki practitioner and breathwork facilitator. I am a Pisces, like we talked about. Pisces, true and true.
Yes.
And yeah, just a positive, fun, loving, outgoing, manifesting human, just like the majority of us.
Well, I can say that, attest to those things, and I've just met you in the last 5 minutes. And I can already feel that beautiful, radiant, positive energy.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to dive into that. And it's just such a beautiful example of how multifaceted we are. We love to give ourselves titles of teacher and this and that, but there's so much to us, and we're constantly exploring and diving into those different details of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's always a journey. I always like to remind myself of that, because I'm going somewhere. Where am I going?
Yes.
But you never get anywhere. You're just always exploring and diving deeper.
There. Yeah, in that moment. Yes, 100%.
Well, I'm excited to dive into some of those things that you do, like breath work and Reiki, just kind of talk about what those are. But before we get into that, my second question that I always like to ask, again, just to get a flavor of who you are, is what does living in alignment mean to you?
So much. Living in alignment to me pretty much means removing any of the blame, shame, guilt, fear, doubt that we tend to hold on to, and just fully showing up 1000% as yourself, unapologetically, and just aligning to your highest self, that highest potential of who you know you can be. It's already within you. And so taking those steps every single day without that doubt, fear, shame, and just showing up as yourself 100%, 1000%.
That feels so good. And so many people need to hear that message. But it's like, how do we do that?
Oh my gosh. It is a journey.
It is.
And it's not easy every day.
No.
It's not.
No.
It takes work, and it takes, that time, putting that effort in.
Yeah.
To want to align to your highest self and become that person that we all can vision it. We all can see it. We all, want to be this type of person, or want to do this type of thing, or want to go after this type of job. But then it's breaking down every barrier that's stopping us from getting there.
Yes.
And so truly tuning in to the body and the mind and connecting with that path of how are you going to get there.
Yes.
Without the shame, guilt, blame, all that stuff. Because that's something that we tend to do as well, as, I want to get to point A, but I have this holding me back, so that makes me a bad person. Or, I'm judging myself for doing that. But it's like, no, maybe that's just part of your journey, what you need in that moment to get to that point.
Totally. So many things I want to pull in there. So the first thing, I guess, is the shame and the guilt. And you also said, working with mind, body, and spirit. I feel like that's kind of what Reiki and breath work kind of helps you do, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Tuning into the body, connecting to your mind, and just, figuring out where it is that you need to go.
Yeah, because that's something I've really been exploring recently, this idea of like, when we do feel that resistance or those perceived negative emotions, a lot of times we don't know how to feel them. So we suppress them, and then they kind of live in our body.
Yes.
And that's what's holding us back.
Yes.
That's what like self-sabotages them.
Yes.
Or us. So do those practices kind of help you release those things?
My goodness, 1000%.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yes. And, those feelings those feelings need to be felt. They need to be addressed in order to be released. The more we suppress them, the more they go deeper into our body and hold us back from, again, aligning with our highest self. And so both, Reiki, breathwork, meditation, somatic movement, dancing, those are all ways to tune into the body and release that built up, stagnant, stale energy that is holding you back.
I feel like so many people have just lost that connection to their body. Yeah. Like a lot of things in our society make us want to escape our body for whatever reason. So we've just lost that connection. And that is something I've been trying to rebuild.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it can be scary.
It
like
is.
Going in and, there's places that you don't want to relive or want to bring that emotion back up, but it's going to be so worth it on the other end.
Totally. Because then you're just lighter. Like,
yes.
So many people, you can just look at people sometimes and feel that, especially if you're an empathic person.
Yes, yeah.
Just feel all that baggage that we're all carrying around.
Yeah.
That was something we were just talking about downloads and messages we get from like our internal guidance, our intuition, universe, whatever you want to call it. That was something that my internal guidance said to me, was like, you're wearing clothes that are too small, or like, it's just a matter of, all these different metaphors, taking the blocks off.
Yes.
It's not about giving, you don't need to add anything to yourself. It's about like taking the things off that you're carrying around.
Yes, absolutely. Stripping down those layers and truly getting, like we talked about, aligning to that highest version of yourself. Just releasing anything that's holding you back and holding you down. And it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And you're going to continue to add layers as you're taking them off. Like, it's a continuous journey. It's never ending. I always like to say, with bigger weapons comes bigger dragons.
Ooh,
yeah. I can't say I made that up. I definitely did not make it up, but it definitely resonated really hard for me. Is, the deeper in the work that you go, it's more stuff's gonna come up that you're like, oh, all right, here we go. Let's tackle this now.
It can seem exhausting sometimes. Like, I'm always like, when am I going to get there? Like, I know I just said this, but there's no there.
There's no there. Yeah.
And it kind of makes me think of something I've been pondering recently. I'd be interested to hear your take on this. Is if we looked at life like a video game. Like, sometimes I wonder, are we in a video game? Oof. I don't know. That's a whole other topic, right? Like, are we in a simulation?
Yes.
Well, let's just say, like, pretend that we are. Mm-hmm. Just like in a video game, each time you go to the next level, things get a little bit more challenging. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something I try to reconcile and balance in my head. I'd be interested to hear your take on this as well. It's like balancing doing that work of working through the things that are holding you back, and also prioritizing alignment and fun and joy. Yeah. Sometimes I ebb and flow with that, and I have to remind myself, like, yes, I need to release the things I need to release, but I also need to, like, prioritize just being in the moment and having fun. And
yes, absolutely.
Doing those
and
things.
You totally can be doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, I am really big in my morning practice, and I feel like that is my dedicated time to be doing that, you know, inner child work, shadow work, somatic healing, whatever it is that I need to be doing, or whatever it is that is going to come up that day. I'm, you know, sit down on the mat without an intention, and Source will tell me what that intention is.
Yes.
But then, you know, from there, you're able to carry on your day more mindful, more playful, you know, and then that's where you're able to have that fun. You know, I already did the work for the day, and I'm integrating it throughout my day, which, especially being a teacher, helps as well, keeping that mindfulness, keeping that, you know, patience, playfulness, throughout my work, and then get to go home and more play.
Oh, gosh, guys, can we imagine if we all did this, especially the people teaching children? Such a powerful domino effect that you're having
1,000%
on all the souls that you come in contact with.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like such a... I'm like, yes, 100%. No, I thought you meant like, you know, morning practice, if everyone was doing a morning practice.
That
too.
1,000%.
You know, or even if you're, wherever you can fit that practice in, it's just going to pay off so much in the long run. Just staying more mindful, even no matter what your job is. If it's not teaching, it's still going to
impact everyone.
Yes.
I'm curious too, because I agree. I think a morning practice is so powerful.
It's my favorite.
So I'm just curious, like, what can you kind of take us through, like, what you do in the morning?
Yes.
I mean, I think everyone has to make it their own.
Oh,
so like, no one listen and be like, I have to do A, B, and C.
Nope. I do what works for me. Everyone needs to do what works for them.
Yeah.
So I've always been a morning person, so that helps. So I usually wake up around 4:30. I make some tea.
What kind of tea?
I do fresh ginger every single morning. Really good for digestion, really good for grounding. Yes. So I make fresh ginger tea every morning. Then I do about 15 minutes of breath work. So then I do about 15 minutes of meditation. Then I do about 5 minutes of journaling. One of the biggest things that I started doing this year, which I absolutely love, is I do a gratitude journal. And I literally every single morning, I write the date, and then I write, today I am grateful for. And it can be something as silly as like the new album that I found on Spotify, like just something so silly. And I've even like looked back at like times where I was really struggling, either, you know, with a situation or even my health. And for like, I still wrote stuff down. Like at some of the scary points in my life, I'm still sitting there being like, today I'm grateful for, you know?
So powerful.
So yes, it's amazing and so cool to reflect and look back on. And so that's definitely been really great. And then from there, I do some yoga. In the warmer months.
We're both Midwest girls.
Yeah, we're Midwest, and
we've acclimated to the Arizona weather.
Depending on the temperature, I either do a walk, or I do the walk after school, depending on the temperature. So, and then I start getting ready, and it means everything to me. Like my husband will make fun of me because we will have to leave for the airport at like 3 a.m. Yeah. And I'll wake up at 1 a.m. to do my morning practice.
Wow.
Like it's
that powerful.
It's everything to me. Like I just love it.
I think that is such I'm also like, I miss a morning practice. My mornings have been all over the place with the baby.
Yeah, I should say I don't have kids. So.
No, and I'm like, I keep thinking, I'm like, okay, he's on the schedule. I'm going to get back to it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, seasons, ebbs and flows. I know it will come back when it's time.
Yes, 100%.
But it just goes to show the power of when you wake up and you are intentional with your time. And like you said, you start like with a clear slate.
Yes.
The power that you can do throughout your day just by dedicating that time.
Yeah.
And you can even like condense the things that you said into like tiny bits.
My husband, when we were in Belgium last week,
Yeah.
you know, some days there wasn't enough time for 15 minutes of meditation, so I would do 5. You know, like it just, or I didn't do yoga. Like it every day looks different. Most days look like what I had described, but you know, you fit in what you can. My other thing I would say is make the bed if you can.
Yes.
Close the ceremony space is how I like to look at
Ooh,
it. Yeah. Like, okay, thank you. Like,
that.
I had a good night's sleep. Now we're finishing that. And then keep your phone on airplane mode. Like, that should not be the first thing you see in the morning. Your eyes don't need that. Your brain doesn't need that. Keep your phone on airplane mode.
Yes, we're so conditioned by these little traps.
Oh my gosh, these little boxes, I can't.
Yeah, they're so powerful. Again, a tool that we can use for good or for...
Yes, 100%. They've brought so much knowledge, but they've also brought some...
Yeah, just some
uncool stuff.
It depends on if you're using it consciously or unconsciously.
Yes, exactly.
Like you said.
That's a good way to put it.
I love that with making the bed. I've noticed that too. Even if I just look at an unmade bed, I heard it somewhere like close the loop, but I love that. Or close the ceremony space. I'm going to start saying that. But let's go back to breath work, because that is something I've been intrigued about, and I've like heard, and I like have an idea of what it is. But like, how can people start diving into that or start using that?
Yeah.
Because the breath is something we take for granted. We just do unconsciously again. But again, think of when you take deep breaths, how much that calms you down.
Calms you down, grounds you. It's literally life force energy. Like we've been talking about, everything we already need is already within us.
Yes.
And to take those deep breaths, those mindful breaths throughout the day really is going to help you tune in to your body, mind, spirit, all of the above.
So is it really that simple of just like taking deep breaths throughout the day?
It really is. I mean, I do, you know, a little, it's called pyramid breath work. It was created by
Herb.
Yes, Johann Herb. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I
love him.
And Rachel
Pringle. Oh,
if you guys don't know,
goddesses. Yes.
they are. They're like goals. I mean, I
yes,
shouldn't
seriously.
say that. Like, put them on a
But
pedestal.
it's okay. Consciously, yes, they're amazing. So so I started doing pyramid breath work a couple years ago. And so that, you know, for the people that want to, you know, learn breath work, it's all over social media. You can find so many people who facilitate it. You can find so many people who just give it out free on, you know, their page. There's so many different ways to do it. I have a beautiful breathwork coach, Jolie.
Yeah.
And she takes me, I don't remember what her method is called, but when I do breathwork with her, holy moly, like it's insane how transformative it can be to go into your body to heal that way. It's insane. So yeah, everyone should be doing it. What I really like about it, or at least what I tell a lot of people when they're like, oh, like I'm curious about it, it's like meditation without having to clear your mind. Like it's like your mind will bring up a lot of stuff and you're acknowledging it and seeing it and feeling it, and it's not, there's no, a lot of people think meditation too is like you have to completely clear your mind or you're doing it wrong. Like, no, absolutely. I have stuff come up all the time, but you just acknowledge it and let it go. And then, you know, the next thing that comes up, acknowledge it and let it go. And so breath work, you know, you're going to have a lot of stuff come up too. And so then you're able to recognize like, oh, this is what I'm working on. This is what needs attention. This is what I need to focus on for healing. So another way to connect to your body.
I think that's perfect for, like you said, some people get so caught up in doing meditation right, which there's no right way to do it. Yes. So I think that's a really good place for people to start, is just focusing on your breath and seeing what comes up. And I love what you said too, like sometimes things just want to be acknowledged.
Yes,
like parts of our psyche, parts of our soul, thoughts, they just want to like say their piece, like a second grader.
Yes, exactly.
They just want to be heard, and then they're okay.
Yes, exactly. Just to acknowledge it, and that's already then the next step to healing.
Well, I think that's such a beautiful place to start.
Yeah.
And they can work with you potentially on that,
yes,
right?
absolutely. Yep, I offer that in my sessions as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I noticed that too throughout my day. A saying that's really been sticking with me recently, someone else said it on the podcast, was like, life is a meditation.
Ooh.
Like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
And I keep thinking that because where I'm at right now is I love talking about this stuff. I love working with people on this stuff, but then I still am human and get caught up in this stuff, like in the day-to-day. And that is something that always grounds me, always works, is I stop and I take a deep breath. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And even to take it another step forward, and it sounds like what you're already doing, is acknowledging the emotion. Like when I'm feeling angry, it's almost funny. You can just kind of stop and you're just like, huh. Like,
that's anger.
I'm angry. Like, interesting. Like, that's an odd feeling. You know, why am I feeling that way? And just kind of acknowledging it, putting a label on it. And then you let it go that much faster rather than bask in it and just keep yourself in that state. You just kind of acknowledge it.
Yes.
Let it be. No shame, no guilt towards it. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be emotional. You're allowed to be scared. Yeah. Acknowledge it and then let it go.
I love that. It's such a powerful practice. Like, I always feel like it just puts distance between you and the emotion. Like, you're not that emotion.
Yes.
And I like what you said too. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Be curious about the emotion.
Never stop asking yourself why.
Yes.
That's what I will, anytime something comes up, I ask myself, like, oh, why am I feeling this emotion? Like, where is it really stemming from? Is it because, you know, a coworker or a student or my husband, is it really that, or is it something deeper? And it's always something deeper. It's never that surface level, immediate, like, someone pissed me off. It's always something deeper than that.
Like, everything around us is a mirror of just what we need to work on the inside.
Seriously. Yes.
It's such an interesting way to go about life because I feel like careers especially, or just even spouses, like those are not easy places, but places where everyone can practice this stuff because those could be confronting areas.
Yes.
Like who triggers us? Usually our spouses and I hate to say that, but like things come up in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Or like even in the workplace with coworkers.
Yeah.
Or so many things come up.
Teaching students. Even you're just like, why?
Exactly. So that's such a beautiful practice. Anyone listening, like as you go throughout your day, as you're triggered, just like asking why. Why is that such a trigger to me?
Yeah. I love that you call it a practice too, because like this wasn't something that just like one day I woke up and was able to just say like, oh, like it's an emotion. So I'm going to let go of it, you know, and not let it affect my day. And, you know, I have, you know, naturopaths or chiropractors who will ask like, are you stressed at work? And it's so funny because it's like, if you had asked me that 4 years ago, I would have said yes. But now it's like, no, because if stress arises, I just acknowledge it and let it go. Like I'm allowed to have stressful moments. I acknowledge what's causing the stress or what's causing the anxiety or what's causing the fear, and then let it go.
But it doesn't like define who you are.
No, absolutely not. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. It comes up. We all have them.
I love that. So powerful, Danielle, because I feel like so many people are defined by their stress.
Yes. Yeah. They think it, or, you know, people say, I have anxiety or I'm an anxious person. No, you're not. You're a person who's just experienced an emotion that's being triggered by an external aspect of life. And it's okay. And don't shame yourself or feel guilty for having it. Acknowledge it.
And keep going.
Yeah.
Because that's how we spiral when we shame ourselves for feeling emotion.
You're just going to make yourself feel worse.
Such a good reminder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, something that you just said that I'm just curious about.
Yeah.
Have you always been into this kind of realm of life of like the holistic lifestyle, spirituality, or do you feel like that's something that you've really deepened recently?
Both.
Yeah.
I've definitely always been into it. I, you know, remember being very young, being insanely, like...
sensitive?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of the word.
I was like, I don't
just
know,
sensitive to energies,
Yeah.
but not really understanding what it was. And I remember even in like middle school getting made fun of for feeling those energies because I'd like react. I got made fun of. So of course, what did I do? Like any middle schooler does, I shut it down.
Yeah. That's where so many people are operating from.
Seriously.
It was unsafe
yep,
to feel
exactly. I got made fun of, or I was called weird, and so I shut it down. And then I want to say college was when I really cracked it back open. And I started traveling. I remember getting a book from the library on meditation. I went to my first yoga class in college. And I remember I was just like bawling, being like, what are these emotions coming up? And so it kind of, opened it back up for me. And then it's only grown more and more from there. And I feel like within the last 5 years was where I really got into the herbalism. I went to herb school at Suiha, the Reiki, doula, just all these things. And then even to deepen it even more, understanding, the ingredients in our food, the chemicals in our products, what antibiotics are doing to our bodies. And so it's just just keeps deepening more and more, and I'm for it. I'm all for it.
Me too.
And I'm here for this journey.
Like you said, asking why.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I love asking, like, why do we do things the way we do them?
Because we were told it was right.
Yes. And then we just are compliant with that.
Yes. It's crazy.
Well, I love that. And I think that's the power of doing this work of just introspection is you see so many things in your life and you're like, I don't need to do that, or I can let that go, or I can do it differently, or just diving into those things. It's the little nudges I always say, like from like your intuition, it sounds like just following those. It's like a little breadcrumb trail. And you never know where that's going to lead.
And, for those who are like, oh, I'm not in tune with my intuition, connect to the body. Start connecting to the body and it will grow. It is like a muscle. It gets stronger and stronger the more you work it. So, start with the breath work, start with the mindful walk, start with somatic dancing. Just move the body, shake the body, and start to listen to your intuition when it arises, and it's only going to keep getting stronger.
I agree so much. I feel like that's when, like we said, it's a practice. But when I started doing those things, like little hits just come to you while you're stretching or while you're walking.
Yes.
Trust those little hits.
Listen, yes.
Do you experience the same thing? Like you'll be doing that and you're just like, oh, I get a random thought about this.
Oh my gosh, all the time. My husband knows I get random downloads all the time. And I'll like tell him, I'm like, I just got a download. Can I tell you about it? And he's like, sure, So yeah, absolutely all the time. And what's funny too is when you get those hits and you don't really either one know that it was your intuition giving you that little nudge or you choose to ignore it. It's so funny that it will show you afterwards like, oh, you didn't listen. Here's another message a little bit louder. Yes. A couple days ago I was in the classroom and I have like a sign that my friend made me with Mrs. Desmet on it and it's hanging on the front of my desk. And that morning, I was just like, I really should move it because the kids always, when they come up to my desk, they knock it. It's always moving. Did I move it? No. And then later that day, I had tea on my desk and we had a volunteer helping in the classroom. And I was like, I should really go rinse my tea mug out. Yeah. And I said, no. And I was like, it's fine. 5 minutes later, I knocked the tea over. It fell onto fell onto the sign, and I just kind of laughed, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I got you, intuition. Yeah. Wasn't listening. So
that gives me chills.
Yeah.
Because it really is. It's like when you're playful with it and just kind of observe and notice those things. You're like, oh, wow.
Yep. I just started laughing. It spilled all over and I just started laughing because I was like, this is my fault. The universe gave me plenty of opportunities to avoid this. I didn't listen. So.
Well, I think that's a testament to your spiritual practice because and many a times when I was more, I guess, unconscious, I would be like spewing cuss words and like mad, about that. But now you can just laugh.
I laugh about a lot of things these days. Not much. It's just funny. Yeah. It's just, it's all already meant to happen. So you might as well just enjoy the ride.
I just want to like soak that in for a second. Enjoy the ride. I need that reminder all the time. Let's go back to one more thing that you incorporate in your practice, and that's Reiki. Can you just like explain? I know we touched on it a little bit before, but just explain to us like what Reiki is, because I hear it all the time, but I'm like, I'm not really sure what it is.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So Reiki is a Japanese healing modality.
Okay.
And it truly means like Reiki is divine life force energy. And so it's, like we were talking about carrying a lot of emotion and trauma and negative energy that gets stored and stuck in our body.
Yes.
And so going in and clearing it out, aligning your chakras, removing any stagnant, stale, negative energy that's still sitting within you, is, like we said, gonna in turn make you that much lighter, that much happier, that much more able to align to your highest, happiest, healthiest self, to release that. So it's, again, just another modality of energetic healing and releasing all that stored trauma, or, it brings those things to the surface. Yeah.
I think I need some Reiki.
Oh, girl, I got you.
Seriously. That is
It's
something
good, yeah.
I've been feeling nudged towards. It's like exploring these modalities more. Because there's such a buffet of things to choose from. And I think that is a powerful practice of just like tuning in and seeing what feels right to you. And Reiki's one that just keeps coming up. And everyone, like we said, needs to clear that slate.
Yes.
And as you go through life, you clear it, and then you can get some more stuff
and
on
then
there.
You'll get more stuff, and then we'll clear that,
it.
and then get more stuff, and you'll clear that. But no, it's really a powerful tool. I have a lot of great people, clients, and, what we're able to do in a session, really feels good to be able to help them that way. So, you can help with physical aspects, like pain. I've helped people with headaches.
Wow.
You can help spiritual aspects, connecting to your intuition, connecting to source. And you can help with mindfulness. I do a lot of work with like insomnia, anxiety. Gut issues is a lot that I can help with. Yeah, we all have gut issues.
Why is that so common?
It's because of what's in our food.
So many rabbit holes.
I was going to say, that's a whole nother podcast.
But I heard somewhere too that like our brain, our stomach is almost like a second brain.
It is, yes.
So when that's off,
everything's off. Yep.
Everything's off.
And so even, I like to tell people, if they do have anxiety or if they are stressed, start in the gut, because it could just be as simple as an imbalance or an overgrowth or just something in your diet that's causing that stress or anxiety.
So many things like in a holistic lifestyle, but it really is just starting with the small stuff.
Oh, yeah. Those baby steps. Just start from square one.
Like, what are you eating?
It's just going to keep unfolding.
Yeah. Like, what can you replace in your diet? Maybe just like one thing.
Even, exactly. And, that's going to be an energy that you're putting out into the universe. If you're showing the universe like, hey, I'm willing to do the work, I'm going to take these small baby steps, these changes, it's just going to come right back to you and amplify. And then from there, you get to expand.
Yes. I was just watching something the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with Bashar.
With what?
Bashar. He's kind of like Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you listen to Abraham Hicks. It's just like a channel. Anyways, it doesn't necessarily matter who it's from. Just the message. But one of the key things he says was like universal law, what you put out, you get back. Which I feel like so many spiritual teachers say that in different ways. So that's a really good reminder of that.
Absolutely.
What you put out, you're going to get back. Either
Absolutely.
good or bad.
Yes, exactly.
Well, as we wrap up this conversation, just a few more questions for you. What are some different ways, you kind of mentioned a few, but what are some ways that people can connect with you and work with you if they're interested in trying any of these things out? Because I know I am.
Absolutely. So they can find me on Instagram. I am one.holistic.healer.
Okay.
I also have a Facebook, Into the Root, Reiki and Healing. And then I'm working on a website. Creating a website is actually way more difficult than I thought it would be.
For sure.
You just kind of wake up one day and you're just like, I need a website. Let's go. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, okay.
So many options.
There's so much. I had a friend the other day, I was talking about my website and they're like, oh, who's building your website? And I was like, me.
Yeah.
I am. I wish I was hiring someone to do it.
Same.
Yeah, so I'm working on the website, but yeah, no, if anyone is interested, I offer Reiki sessions, Reiki breathwork, holistic health coaching as well. I do like protocols for people to help them with anything that's holding them back from being their highest self, finding those natural remedies and those holistic supplements that they can take rather than, pharmaceutical drugs, over-the-counter prescription, like just all the yucky, nasty stuff that is getting pushed.
Yes.
We unfortunately live in a world of surface level solutions, and a lot of people unfortunately just try to mask the symptoms or just make the problem go away. But true healing, you really need to dive into the root, and that's where my business name came from, into the root. You really need to dive into the root and figure out that root cause, and that's where true healing can begin, because the body does know how to heal, like naturally. It just knows how to heal. It wants to heal. We just need to remove all those blockages. So it's able to do that. And unfortunately, some of the food that we eat, some of the drugs that people take, those are all blockages that's going to suppress that. In order to heal, you need to go in to get through. That's what I always say, in and through, because it's a lot of work. It's hard work. It'd be great to just mask the symptom and make it go away, but you're not going to heal that way.
No.
You need to get to the root, in and through.
Yeah. Just feel it or do what you need to do to acknowledge that, and then you can come out the other side.
And you're healed. And then on to the next thing.
Yes. Well, I think so many people need to hear that. Yeah, like you said, talking about like the medical, pharmaceutical system, for sure. That's another rabbit hole. But so many things can be solved with just diet and exercise and going outside.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. We're literally like hiding from the sun, and the sun is... life energy. It's it's the chemicals in the sunscreen that we need to be more scared of.
That is something I've been looking into too. I've been questioning, like, should I be wearing sunscreen, which is something that is ingrained from us from day one.
Oh yes, yeah, exactly.
But I'm like, no. Then it blocks the stuff that you need.
Exactly. And there are that's what I like to help clients with when I do the holistic health coaching, is finding those supplements, because there are natural sunscreens. They exist. You just want to make sure you get the ones without all the yucky,
all the stuff
that's causing gut problems and inflammation of the mind and body. It's crazy what's out there.
Yeah, there's a lot to uncover, but it sounds like you can really help guide people through like where to start with that.
Yeah.
So it's not so overwhelming.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. If you had to give like one piece of advice for anyone like starting on this, I call it an alignment journey, but self-discovery journey.
Yes.
What would you tell them? I know that's a hard one.
Yeah. I would say connect to the body. Like I said, the body knows how to heal.
Yes.
It wants to heal.
Yes.
We just need to remove those blockages. And there are, a ton of ways to help assist that. Like we talked about, breathwork, Reiki, meditation, dancing, shaking even. That's becoming more popular. And just connecting to the body and discovering the root cause of what's truly holding back from becoming your highest, happiest, healthiest self.
Which we all can do.
Yes.
I think that's why we're here.
Yes.
To just rediscover that stuff.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Well, one question I've been asking, and then we can wrap it up here. It's just kind of a fun one, but like, what has been a really aligning activity for you recently? Like in this time and space that you just love doing and brings you so much joy?
Okay, I have really fallen back in love with self-Reiki. We learned that at the beginning of our training. My teacher was amazing, and we went on a journey from when we first started before we could move on to level 2 of self-Reiking. And I feel like in the last 6 months, I've really retuned into it, and I Reiki myself regularly throughout the day. And I've learned new tips and tricks through that, and new downloads from source, where then I'm able to then use it on my clients. And it's been really fun and aligning with just showing up as my highest self.
So cool. Yeah. That's another thing to this work, as you clear and clear and clear your channel, it becomes more and more open.
Oh my gosh, yes. it's beautiful.
And you can just receive all that beautiful love and divine messages from the universe.
It's so good. It's so good.
Magical.
Yes,
Really.
Absolutely.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I know you're going to come back on. I just know it. Hopefully manifesting that one.
Yes.
And go connect with Danielle. Go check out her offerings. I know I'm going to be. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I love the way we ended that, reminding everyone that we can live a happy and healthy life. It is truly up to you. And of course, you don't have to do it alone. We are here with you. So please go and check out Danielle if you're feeling called to. And since you tuned into this podcast episode, you can use code ALIGNMENT, all caps, to get 10% off any of her services. So like she said, her Instagram is at one.holistic.healer. I will link that in the show notes, as well as her Facebook group, Into the Root Reiki and Healing. I think it might be a Facebook page or group. I'm not sure. But go and check that out. See what services she offers. Use your intuition to guide you. And go check that out. Like I said, you don't have to do this journey or this process alone. That is when I've made some of the biggest leaps in my awareness, is when I work with someone else or let my intuition guide me into different offerings or different services or whatever it may be. So please share any takeaways you have with either of us on Instagram. My handle is the same, at Lindsay with an A.M. Tanner. Please subscribe if you're new here. We have new episodes every week. Sometimes it's just me doing a solo episode. Sometimes it's interviews with beautiful guests like this. I have so many interviews lined up for you guys to end this year off and to start off 2023. So I'm just excited for you to hear them. They're just so expansive. And I just feel so grateful for these guests that take time to share their beautiful energy with all of us, because we are all on this journey together. We're all connected. So sending you so much love, sending you all the high vibes. And of course, I will see you next week on Alignment Adventures.